So I'm going to move into introducing our keynote for this session and just read a quick bio, and then I'll let her just come up and start. Thanks for being with us, Elaine. Elaine Dalton was appointed as a UVU trustee in July of 2013. She was born and raised in Ogden, Utah. She graduated from Ogden High School. Her freshman year, she attended Weber State College and then went to BYU, where she earned a Bachelor's of Arts degree in English and a teaching certificate in secondary education. Elaine served as the General Young Women President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints from 2008 to 2013. Her prior service includes 5 years as a member of the Young Women General Board and 5 years as a counselor in the Young Women General Presidency. And from 2008 to 2013, she served as a member of the Board of Trustees of the LDS Church Education System, which includes BYU, Brigham Young University, Idaho, Hawaii, LDS Business College, and others. She was a member of the Governor's Commission for the Education of Women in 2012. And she's written and published 2 books, which I read both of them, and I think they're great, and numerous articles. And what I love is she is a frequent speaker, but what I really find inspiring is she's completed 17 marathons. Did you know that about this woman? And enjoys running and hiking. And she's married to Stephen Dalton. They're the parents of 5 sons, 1 daughter, and the grandparents of 17. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here. I have to tell you that I am totally enjoying my work on the Board of Trustees here at UVU. When the governor and President Holland asked me to do that, I said, of course I will. These are my people. And you are my people, and I love being with you, and I love seeing how you're achieving and what you're doing to change the world. I also have to pay tribute to Dr. Madsen, because she is doing some things for all women which are groundbreaking and extraordinary and which will make a difference for as long as I can think about. And so I'm just very honored that she would ask me to give this keynote address tonight. It's going to have an impact. Her work is going to have an impact on us. And then I would also like to acknowledge, even though he's not here, there's a formal event downstairs which he's attending right now, which I'll be attending in a minute. But I'd like to acknowledge President Holland and his wife Paige, because they have been enthusiastic advocates and supporters of education for women, have been and still are. And they want to enable women to reach their full potential. And so I thank President Holland for the emphasis that he has. As you know, the core mission at UVU is student success. And when I was on the Board of Trustees, he said, this is one of your focuses that you will do. And I am riveted on that focus. And as you all know, when you educate a young woman, you educate generations. And so an education, not just a beginning, but a finishing point, a graduation, is extremely important for all young women. It will make a difference in society. It will make a difference in families. It will make a difference in the nation and in the world. And so I hope that your participation here tonight will help you to start a dialogue about who you are and why you were positioned in this pivotal moment in history, and how you, yes, you, can influence the future in meaningful and in powerful ways. And as a runner, since marathon running was mentioned, one of my favorite runners, Juma Ikenga, he was an African runner who won the New York Marathon in an absolutely record time. And the reporters and everyone that watched him come across the finish line were just astounded. And as he said, as they interviewed him about the secret to his success, I'd like to share you, because it is also true for all of us. The will to win means nothing without the will to prepare. The will to win means nothing without the will to prepare. And so tonight in my brief remarks, I'd like to share with you some of the qualities that I have observed that women have developed in various ways, but also through getting an education that have helped them to become powerful leaders in very individualized ways, in unique and different ways, because we all have a unique and different contribution that we can make. And part of what Education for Women does is help us realize our strengths and help us to enhance those strengths and become qualified to use those to make an impact in the world. As education is preparation, as Juma Ikanga said, and it is preparation for not just your lifetime, but for generations to come. Now I'd like to show you a few pictures. Whoops. This is my mother, Emma Schwartz. This is her when she graduated from high school. This is a picture that was put in the newspaper of her because she received an award. And the award consisted of getting straight A's all the way through school, from kindergarten on up to senior year in high school, never being tardy a single day in all of those years, and never missing a day of school in all of those years. Somehow, my mother had an innate feeling that education was important to her. And then after she graduated, she enrolled in Utah State University. She lived in Ogden with her family and her invalid mother who had had a stroke, my grandmother, and she was disabled and couldn't walk. My mother was accepted at Utah State University, and so she went there during the week to attend college, and then would come home on the weekends, do all the washing for her family, do her own washing, do the cleaning, help in any way she could, cook meals for the week, and then on Sunday night return back to continue her education. She graduated from Utah State University not only with honors, but having been a leader there. She was a student body officer, and she was also a leader in her sorority. And it wasn't easy for my mother to do that. But I am so grateful that she did. And needless to say, myself and my two brothers didn't have any options when it came to being sick or tardy or not continuing school. It was just an absolute high expectation in our home. And my mother didn't know at the time that she did all of these things what her future would be. She didn't know that after she married and had 3 children and was a stay-at-home mom, that her husband would pass away. He would die. She didn't know that she would have to raise us all by herself. She didn't understand or know all of those things, and we can't really see the future, but she was prepared. And she was prepared to go back to work and to teach school and to use the degree that she had in college. And I am so grateful for my mother for that. As I stand here before you today, I'd just like to say thank you, Mother. Because you see, there has not been a day go by in my life when I have not used my education. I used it when I was a stay-at-home mom with our 6 children. I tried to run our home like I would run a business, and my education came into play in our home in a big way. I used accounting, I used finance, math, geometry, art, science, English, literature, you name it. It was used in our home. And where I wasn't an expert, my husband kind of filled in the gaps. And I'm so grateful that my mother insisted that we get an education, and that she sacrificed greatly so that I could go to college and get a degree. It's made all the difference for me personally. And I know that when my now husband, Steve Dalton, went to my mother to ask for her permission to marry me, she made him promise, like this even, that he would ensure that I graduated from Brigham Young University. And then she made me also promise that I would. And my husband made good that promise, and I made good that promise. And I am so, so grateful, because that degree that was obtained at that point in time was not only used to raise our children and to create the home that we had and have now, but it was used to help further women, young women, to bless their lives, to help them understand their potential and their capabilities, to help them to rise above the norm and to do some things that would change the world. And so education is absolutely so important, and that's why I'm here. Now I want you to look at a couple of slides of some women who have some things in common. It has been said that knowledge creates women who possess power. They have power to alter the course of history and to shape a nation and to strengthen moral and ethical values, or to raise a family, as I've said, that will go forward to be contributors in society. Now, you probably recognize this painting. We don't have a photograph of her because this is Esther in the Bible. And Esther changed the world. She was an orphan. She did not have an easy life. She had to leave her country and her people and go to live with her uncle in a foreign land. But Esther possessed courage. And courage is something that is very important for us as women to have. When we feel something is right, we need to have the courage to act on it. And she did. And because she did, she saved an entire nation. This one young woman, Esther. Now, here's another young woman who's famous in history. This is Joan of Arc. And Joan of Arc also changed the world. She saved the entire French nation. She was not literate. She did not have an education, but it's been recorded that she was taught by her mother and that she learned much of what she knew because she loved the Catholic Church. But she came to a point in her young life when she had some feelings, some deep feelings, and even she called them promptings from God, that she was supposed to lead an army to save France from England. And as you all know, she did. And she is revered now in France. Joan of Arc changed the world because she followed her heart. Now, I don't need to introduce this woman to you because we all know who she is, and she has also changed the world. Mother Teresa. She was prepared. She was prepared for a completely different thing than she did. She said she was on a train when she heard God talk to her and tell her what she should do to contribute to the world. And she completely changed her direction and used her preparation to do things for the poor of Calcutta. What an amazing, amazing woman that she did. Almost single-handedly, she was such a great leader. She was prepared. She didn't know she was prepared for what she finally did, but she was prepared. And I admire her so much. She even refers to herself as a pencil in the hand of God. And here's another woman you may not recognize as readily. This woman is Rosa Parks. And Rosa Parks was the woman who simply refused during the time on a racially segregated bus. And during the time of segregation, she simply refused to move to the back of the bus. And her thought process was this. She said, the time had just come when I had been pushed as far as I could stand to be pushed. I decided that I would have to know once and for all what rights I had as a human being and as a citizen. And as you know, her single act impacted the American Civil Rights Movement. Rosa Parks changed the world. And then here's another woman. Anybody know who she is? Anybody recognize her? Her name is Sarah Blakely. Sarah Blakely had a father who encouraged his children to remember and to count their failures. And even every night at the dinner table, he would ask his children, "What did you fail at today?" And the children would tell him. And then he'd tell them, "What have you learned from what you failed at today?" Well, Sarah Blakely went on with dogged determination to invent a company that is $1 billion company today and growing as we speak. She's the one who invented Spanx. I don't know about you, but she has changed my world. I want you to hear what Sarah Blakely has to say. So there's Sarah Blakely. I think she has changed the world, our world. I firmly believe that, and there's so much to learn from her. Someone asked her, how did you get your product into Bergdorf's and into Neiman's, Bergdorf Goodman and Neiman Marcus? And she said, I called them. You did? We've been at all these shows just hoping someone from Bergdorf Goodman would walk by our table and take an interest in our product. She just called them and said, I have something you want, and you'll be so happy to talk to me because this is going to be a winner. And she was just very positive about it. Did she succeed the first or the second time? No. But she has a great story, and there's much to learn from Sarah Blakely. So what did these women that I've just put up on the screen all have in common? What characteristics can we learn about? Well, they were learned. They were prepared. They learned in different ways. They utilized their own unique gifts and talents. They did have education behind them. They believed that they could make a unique contribution. They believed in their worth, and they possessed moral and ethical values. They were not afraid to fail. They prepared themselves to the best of their ability, and they were armed with the power of knowledge and an educated mind. Education is so important. Now, here's one last person I'd like to put up on the screen. This is Nancy Hanks Lincoln. She's Abraham Lincoln's mother. And think of the impact that this one woman had on the world. Later, her United States President son, Abraham Lincoln, would remark of his mother, "All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother." Don't you wish that you could have just been a little mouse in that log cabin where Abraham Lincoln was tutored and taught and literally educated by his mother to change the world? And so you see, education equips women to have impact in so many different areas, in so many different arenas. Not maybe at the same time, but in different phases of life. Your education will be called into play continually, and you will be able to do great things that you can't even comprehend now. Education helps women understand their worth. Education helps women be more resilient. Education positions women to impact positive change. And as Nelson Mandela once remarked, education is the powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And you and I have the opportunity before us to do just that. Thank you.